America has squandered the prosperity that it once held dear. The blood, sweat, and tears of over 2 centuries of hard work have been mostly wiped out in a matter of decades. America was a constant beacon to the rest of the world, a signal of hope and opportunity for almost 200 years. After World War II, the U.S. was the only nation left standing, and the American century was in full swing. We sent our manufactured goods all over the world. We single-handedly rebuilt the destroyed nations of Europe as well as Japan. We pumped out industrial goods, and nearly 1 in 3 Americans worked in manufacturing, making valuable products which we could sell abroad. From 1946 to 1976, the United States ran a large trade surplus every year. But beginning in 1976, and continuing every year since, the United States began buying more abroad than it sold. For over 3 decades, Americans have spent their way to prosperity, and they have done so using the wealth and fortune accumulated by previous generations. Our economy has shifted from productive industrial output toward the financial and service sectors, where gains and losses are almost completely arbitrary. We thought that we could simply use financial innovations to drive this economy, and that thought was proven wrong. After 32 years, we are left with a hollowed-out economy. Worse yet, we have done so much to outsource our productive facilities that we cannot reindustrialize even if we want to. Any attempt to do so would take a monumental effort by the government, and it seems clear that they are unwilling to give that. The United States has had to borrow money to keep up its rate of consumption because we no longer have any profits coming into this country via international trade. We carry $11 trillion in outstanding debt, and perhaps an additional 50 to 60 trillion in other debts and entitlement programs which cannot be funded. Our government authorized a budget for the next fiscal year which will run at least 2 trillion in deficit, making our already strained finances even more insolvent. Our Treasury Secretary and the Chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank have publicly expressed their desire to drive inflation, thereby driving down the value of the dollar, in hopes of staving off a disastrous deflationary cycle. Instead of pursuing fiscal responsibility, we, as policy, are exchanging one terrible situation for another which could be just as bad. Other countries around the world are changing their policies so they can untie the binds that have attached them to our ailing economy. China wants desperately to dump the nearly 1 trillion in debt and cash reserves that it holds, and it is pushing a new international common currency as its vehicle to do so. If China dumps its dollar holdings, other countries could be expected to follow suit, leading to what amounts to a bank run on the whole of the United States. According to statistics released by the Fed and the Treasury, the amount of foreign investment going into the historically solid T-bill is decreasing, meaning governments are more unwilling than ever to accept the American IOU. The truth is that foreign countries are not stupid. They are already changing their strategy regarding American debt. As we struggle to stay afloat, the saver nations of the globe, particularly the Chinese, are buying up resources and contracts at a record pace. China has made oil agreements in Africa, South America, Central Asia, and Russia with the massive profits they have accumulated by trade with the U.S. Unless we find some way to quickly wean ourselves from our fossil fuel dependence, we could very well be looking at dealing with Chinese energy hegemony, as if dealing with Russian, Venezuelan, African, and Middle Eastern dictators was not already bad enough. The United States needs a better strategy, and we need it immediately. The gears are in place and the parts are moving. The change in world order has already begun, and the United States can either react swiftly and decisively to save itself, or it can be subsumed. On behalf of concerned citizens, I'm Craig Harrington. For more on this and other related topics, please log on to economyincrisis.org.
Wake up, America! Open up your eyes! Wake up, America! Wake up!
Produced by economyincrisis.org.